Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 1 p.m. here in New Vienna, Iowa. That means it's time for another live stream. Today is July 21st, 2021. It is a Wednesday. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Today, I'm trying to use the iPhone as my webcam for today. I've had some issues with it before. We'll try it again today. Give it another shot, see how it goes. I think the problem is I'm getting too much light from this window, and I think that's the problem. The other problem is that it's giving me too much picture clarity. One of the things that has become apparent looking at myself now in this camera is that when I put sunscreen on my face, even when I kind of like wash it, I still have like kind of like that zinky residue right here in kind of like the facial hair scruff. So that's kind of a weird look, but you know, we're gonna go with it for today. Hopefully, hopefully, you guys will be patient with me, and it won't turn you guys off too much. First, let's say hi to everyone listening on the audio version on the podcast. Hopefully, you guys are having a good run out there today. You can't see me anyway, so hopefully the sound is coming through nice and clear. And for those of you guys watching this on YouTube after the fact, hopefully you're at a time in the day where you can enjoy a nice, relaxing beverage. I'm having my afternoon coffee. Just made myself a fresh cup and definitely am enjoying it. Awesome. So let's see who's here in the chat. We've got Vincent is here, says hello, Co and Bam. Great day for a long run. Ooh, definitely is. I took it a bit easy today. I took a rest, kind of a rest day today. I did go to the pool and swim for an hour. I got in some pretty good swimming today, I think. Not the prettiest swimming, but I'm swimming longer and feeling more relaxed in how not good it feel, you know what I mean? So I'm comfortable with I'm getting very comfortable with like what it feels like at my, beginner swim level, and it's not freaking me out. So I felt like that was good. But I'm not going to run today because I did have a little bit of a track workout yesterday. So I thought good to kind of give the body a little bit of rest. Here, though, I'm not sure how great it is of a day for a long run. It's very humid and it's getting very hot. Today, I'm going to try and take the kids for a little bit of a hike. Not sure how well that's going to go. We'll go after live stream, but it is like overcast, so hopefully that will help. Garrett Meek says, finally able to make a live stream this week. The need to be an adult has been getting in the way, and hope everyone is doing well. I can certainly relate to that. I think everyone here can relate to that. Yeah, I guess in my world of adulting, a lot of it is, trying to make sure that the kids are having a good summer. Sometimes I do a better job of it than others. Yesterday, I feel like I did a pretty good job. I took them swimming twice. And I feel like we just had like a lot of fun outdoor time. And so I'm really, really tired. And I was supposed to do more work on the review for this watch. I wanted to get that out today, but I still have a lot more B-roll to film in terms of like, watch footage and stuff like that. So I got a little bit behind. So I know how you feel, Garrett, but glad to have you here today. All right. We've also got Drew H. Says, happy Wednesday. That's a good thing to celebrate. And Ines says, hi, Kofuzi and everybody. What's going on, Ines? Good to see you. Jeff Elliott says, hello. Regan Dugan says, hi, everyone. And Sean Marshall is here. Gives a nice little bit of a wave. Awesome. Shannon says, hi, Kofam. Kofanzi. Nice. Says, off work today, so I'm rocking the stream on the big TV and phone for the chat. Oh, whoa. A little dual stream. That's cool. Awesome. Very cool. CV76 says, yo, what's going on? And PG1980 says, how's it going? Brendan Cam is here as well. Says, good afternoon. Where'd it go? All right. CV76 says, what's in your Olympic gift bag? That's funny. Yeah. I don't have an Olympic gift bag. I'm not ever going to get one of those. Although I was thinking like, I don't know. Maybe I could figure out a way for one of these brands to send me to an Olympics one year. That'd be kind of fun. I mean, I'm not that interested. We talked about the Olympic Village yesterday. I wouldn't be able to get to the Olympic Village, but I think that there's a lot of stuff that happens just kind of like at a big marathon. The brands are there. They're to see their sponsored athletes, but they're also there to just do a lot of promotional stuff. So I don't know. That could be interesting. I did see that a new Olympics was announced. Brisbane. I think that's how I say it right, is going to get the 2032 Summer Games. So that's pretty cool. Congratulations to Australia. Ian Harris says, greetings from Malaysia. What's going on, Ian? And MC1796 says, what's up, Kofuzi? Ken Fab says, my hair with this camera over here also looks great. Yeah, I think, well, I think that's a little bit of the glare coming off of the light. But I was joking with my mother-in-law that I've been going to the pool so much because I go in the morning to do lap swim, and then I try to take the kids in the afternoon, and sometimes night swim is available. Yesterday was one of those nights. So I was like, yeah, I'm spending so much time. I'm going to have in the pool and in the sun, I'm going to have bleached blonde hair by the end of the summer. Maybe it'll just be a shiny gray patina by the end. I think that's probably the closest I'll get to like beach bum kind of hair. Luis Becerra says, yo, what's going on? And Albert Long says, hello, friends. Sean Marshall says, finding comfort in the discomfort. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I think is going on in the swimming. It's just, I think what's been happening with me is not so much that, because, I'm not really swimming long enough, I guess, for it to feel like an endurance activity yet. It still feels very anaerobic a lot of times, because I'm always kind of like out of breath, and then I start to panic, and then I think I start flailing, and then my arms get real tired. I feel like kind of that tingliness that you get when you've been running threshold pace for a while. So like, it's not, I'd like to be able to get to a point where I can get to a level of discomfort and stay there. But I think my swimming technique isn't allowing me to get there yet. But today I think I made a kind of a breakthrough in that, and realizing that, as I get tired, I move slower through the water and things start to sink, like my legs start to sink, but I'm still moving. I'm still there, and I'm not, drowning. So I feel like, okay, so it's not a disaster. So now let's do something about it. So that's kind of like the realization that I had today, is that like, all right, it's not disastrous. It's not pretty, but I can work with this. So I think that's like a good start. All right. PG says about this camera using the iPhone is that it looks like I have a gray beard. Well, I think that's the sunscreen over here. My skin over here isn't really that great, but I've been getting so much sun, even though I put like the zinky sunscreen on, and I look kind of like a ghost when I'm in the water. I just still think I'm getting a lot of sun between the running, the swimming in the morning, and then being outside with the kids. So I think all of that is wreaking havoc on the camera, and it makes me look weird whenever I see like kind of my reflection in a mirror or see my picture. Jeff Elliott says, I like the 10-hour video. I did a bike workout last week and it really wiped me out. Pretty noticeable during my next 2 runs. Yeah, I've been, once the steeplechase is over, I'm going to focus, really drill down a lot more on the cycling. Because I feel like I can kind of coast through on the running. Not that I'm so good at running, I don't have to train for it, but like, I'm not as concerned about it, and I can kind of stumble my way through if I can make it to the run. But I really got to start focusing on the bike and then on the swim. I spent a lot of time like looking at some other bike options past couple of days. So, soon after Friday, I'll be able to ready to drill down, and I'm kind of looking forward to it. I just feel like I feel great when I run, when I've been spending more time like not running, ironically. I just think that's because, like the wear and tear of a lot of miles on the body. It's like refreshing to still like have that itch scratched in terms of like, getting out there and spending a lot of time being active. But also then like when I go to put on some fast shoes, feeling, oh, I feel fresh. I feel great. So, let's see how the triathlon goes. But I do think that like this cross training thing, I'm like begrudgingly, reluctantly, and surprisingly starting to enjoy it in terms of specifically how it interacts with my running. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know yet if I like triathlon, but I do know that I kind of like some of these other things. So that's been an interesting realization. All right, I gotta jump down here to catch up with you guys in the chat. So sorry if I missed some of your comments earlier. Let's see. Sue says, in terms of the swimming, not drowning is a life goal. it is for me. Just don't drown. Don't die. Yeah, Matt says that swimming is slightly different than running that way. Going all out doesn't mean that you'll actually go faster. Form is more important than flailing. Yeah, that's something that I've realized too, is that like, I'm really thinking a lot about, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And right now I'm just thinking about slow and or smooth, and like whatever, pace I end up going is whatever pace I end up going. It occurred to me yesterday during the swim that when I'm tired a little bit, my swimming speed is about the same as some of the people that are walking laps in the pool, just like kind of like aqua jogging. And so I was like, oh, I thought I was so much faster than that, but apparently I'm not. But that's okay. As long as I can hit the distance without any problems, you know, I think I'll be all right. So I'm good with that. But yeah, I've done a lot of flailing over the past couple of weeks, and it doesn't really do much. It doesn't solve the things that I want the flailing to solve. It's something that I mean, I guess probably a lot of people realize that quickly. It took me a while to figure it out. Adam Pierce says, and it's as Yogi Bear said, it's 90% mental and the other half is physical. I love those. All right. Shannon says, I'm sure your legs will feel heavy off the bike, but the 10K run would be so quick compared to what you're used to. That's kind of like what I'm thinking, is that like I will feel like crap by the time I start running. But I'm also thinking like, at the end of the day, it's going to be over relatively quickly. But then again, you know, I'm expecting to be out there for about 3 hours, I think. So, you know, a 10K, like that last, you know, hopefully less than an hour of that is going to be in the 10K. And so, you know, it won't be a jog, but we'll see what I have left. That'll be kind of interesting. You know, I'll do some kind of like bike runs to kind of get a feel for it and to get acclimated to that. But, you know, frankly, I just don't have a ton of time. I just let myself be a little bit too distracted, but, you know, ultimately I wouldn't delay doing this triathlon to do more training, you know. And Garrett wants to know, so after the tri, does your training for an ultra start? No, after the tri, then I'll be training for the Chicago Marathon. Or actually I'm kind of also training for the Chicago Marathon now at the same time. So that's kind of what's going on. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, a lot of people kind of bounce around between those kinds of events. Sean Marshall says, this summer I struggled with tempo and found that my frequency was just too much to expect good tempo's consistency. So I've taken a step back and been able to tap into that refreshed feeling you mentioned. Yeah. It's nice when you realize, I mean, I guess it's like, it's the same realization twice, right? Whether I'm talking about like swimming and relaxing and ending up being more efficient and faster that way. And also with the running and like giving myself a little bit more time between workouts, or taking running rest days and filling that space with swimming and cycling, gets that refreshed feeling. And it's kind of nice. I recommend it to people. Ren Dre says, whenever I finish a bike workout, I feel great. And then I step off and feel it in my quads. Yeah. My goal is to not like completely collapse and fall down in the transition zone. Like, I just don't want to like create a scene or like a pileup, like something where like I fall down and that causes people behind me to crash into me, that kind of thing. That's like my main goal. Goal number 1, don't get fished out of the water, like complete the swim. Goal number 2 is don't wreck anyone else's chances of completing the triathlon. And then goal 3 is like finish the triathlon. And let's see, Thomas says, remember when you hit the water for your first try, you will hit a moment when you feel gassed early. Just slow it down a bit and you'll be fine. Remember, your run is your great equalizer. Yeah, I mean, I really am going to get to the water and just be like, everyone else just go. I'm very nervous about all the stories you hear about people getting kicked in the face and, you know, accidentally pushed into the water further and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, I'm not a great breather in the water. So like if I'm around a lot of people and there's a lot of churn and splashing, I just feel like I'm going to end up drinking so much of the lake. So I know I'm going to feel really spent partway through this swim. And right now I'm thinking of like, what are going to be my like rest techniques? Yeah, I'm going to try to remember like I'm going to just not worry about who's passing me in the swim at all. That's my, you know, that's something I want to keep keep in mind. All right, running question from Serb Eros says, what do you recommend me to buy? The New Balance Fuel Cell Rebel, the Endorphin Pro, or the Endorphin Speed or Nova Blast? Daily run and heavy weight. For a daily run, I would probably go with the Nova Blast. I wouldn't. The Endorphin Speed might be it. If you're a heavier runner, as you mentioned here for heavy weight, the Endorphin Speed might be just what you want. I haven't tried the new Fuel Cell Rebel, so I can't comment on that one. And then the Nova Blast is nice and squishy. I really love it. But I think that the Endorphin Speed, if you're a bigger runner, taller runner, that might be, relatively speaking, a nice amount of squish for you. So between the Speed or the Nova Blast, my tendency is to lean towards the Nova Blast because I've just been loving that shoe so much. But the Speed could be an interesting choice too. The Endorphin Pro, I really wouldn't consider that for your daily run, for anyone, regardless of size. All right, Steve says, evening all. Late as I couldn't take out my new Metaspeed Skies. Oh, I couldn't not take out his new Metaspeed Skies. Nice. He did 2 fast miles and then crashed. This is not fit, and it was 85 degrees. It's a nice shoe. I can see this working for 5K and up. Yeah, I haven't run in mine in a while, and I'm getting very excited about it. I can't wait to run into that one again. Gunther Pelipata says, hi, Co, are you running the New York City Marathon too? It's the 50th anniversary. I'm not running it, but I am seriously consider going out to spectate it and to just kind of film it, not from like a, following the leaders kind of thing, but just to go out and have like a fun weekend in New York, cheer on some other runners that are out there, maybe do a meetup and go to some of the other kind of events that are going to happen. I'm assuming it'll be, I've never been to New York for the marathon, so I don't know for sure, but I imagine it's a lot like with Chicago. A lot of the local running groups are putting stuff on. There might be some fun kind of like pop-up running events to hop into, that kind of thing. So I'm thinking about doing that. So I might be in the area. Let's see. Matt says, if you're worried about getting kicked in the water, try starting and aiming off to the side of the crowds. Going in the back of the pack isn't always safer. Okay. All right. Well, going to the side definitely makes a lot of sense to me. I like that idea, calmer waters and such. Back of the pack not being safer. That's a great tip. Because I was thinking that might be good, just kind of stay back a little bit, and then you just follow the feet in front of you. Then I'm also worried about being able to like sight and see where I need to swim in the open water. I have a hard time swimming straight, I've realized over the last couple of weeks. So that's going to be something to keep in mind. I'm assuming if I went way off course, at some point someone would blow like a whistle or something, maybe at me. I don't know. We'll have to see. But all good tips, Matt. Thank you. And Terry Furlong says, my top try tip, nose clip. That sorts the washing machine like SwimStar. Really? I've never thought of that. And Gaza asks, anyone tested or ran the new Scott Speed Carbon RC or the Scott Pursuit? Both look quite interesting. Yeah, I haven't seen those yet. I've heard about it. I want to say I've seen them on Instagram, but I haven't. I can't say that I've taken a close look at them. Sean Marshall says, any thoughts on Robbie from Believe in the Run obsession with the new Skechers shoe? I think that's great that he loves the shoe. I'm not sure that I'm gonna try it, but yeah, I'm sure it's really working for him. But I don't quite see it. But I guess I haven't tried that shoe. I've never tried that model of shoe. I forget which one he's. I think it's like is it the Max Road that he's super excited about? I don't know, but he does seem to be talking about it a lot. He says it's like the best shoe of the year, like all around. He likes it a lot. So I don't know that he had. Maybe he had. I think he had tried it when I was in Baltimore. I didn't talk about it too much. All right. Tony Macias says, there are people in kayaks that will tap you if you go too far off course. They keep an eye out to keep everyone in line. All right. There we go. That's the information I need. And Brian, he says, Seth likes that Skechers shoe as well, the Max Road 5. Yeah, I think he's always liked the Max Road 5, hasn't he? Not the 5, but the Max Road series. He's running a, I know he ran in the Max Road 4. I don't know if he ran in the one before that, though, now that I think about it. But, well, I think Seth is a little bit lighter than Robbie, maybe a little bit shorter, but they have similar frames, so maybe that's something to say for it, but an interesting shoe. Salam wants to know, everyone talks about running easy miles too hard, but is there a thing as running easy miles too easy? I think at the far end, there it is, if you're like, all you're doing is walking. So some people say that like there's a certain amount of heart rate that you should get above to really consider it running, but it's not very hard to get above that. And so I want to say something like 110 beats per minute is something that anything below that is probably just still walking and is maybe not giving you aerobic benefit. But you can do a run walk and still get a pretty good aerobic benefit from that, especially for people who are not accustomed to running a lot of slow miles. You'd be surprised at how slow you can go. Now, there's the concept of junk miles. Some people think that some miles, if you're not running at a certain pace, are not worth running, and it's maybe doing you more harm than good. But I think that at a certain point, if you're like way too tired and fatigued to be running, if your form degrades so much, it's not so much the slow pace that is detrimental, it's just that your body isn't able to handle the additional impact, which may then further impact your form, which may then cause undue wear and tear on the body. So there's kind of that concept, but the speed itself, there's nothing wrong with the speed. So like let's say someone's relatively fresh and they're just running, 9-minute, 30-second miles, 10-minute miles, 11-minute miles, 12-minute miles, whatever is very, very easy for you. I don't think that that's a problem. And I think that most people are, to the extent that it is, I think people are so excited to run that you're going to end up running more than you're going to end up not running fast enough. So that's what I would think. Vincent says, is SJD that short in real life? No, I wouldn't say so. I don't know what his height is, but if I were to guess, I would say it's like between 5'4" and 5'6", something like that. Yeah. I'm trying to think when the last time I saw him. Yeah, he never really struck me as a very short person, but I know his shoe size is pretty small, and so like that kind of like always jumps out at me when I think about his size. But he's not. I don't think he's that small. Adam Pierce says, for the sighting and being able to see where I'm swimming, he says, practice looking up as you breathe every 10 strokes or so to keep you on track, or do a breaststroke. Okay, for a beginner. And when coming back to shore, find a high landmark, easier to find than a buoy. Oh, I like that. There will be lots of landmarks because it'll be in Chicago. So that could be nice. All right. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Nice. Thanks for the tip. John L. says, I have the Adidas Adizero Boston 8, and it's a great shoe, but I think it's a little bit boring. You have a suggestion for an everyday trainer that's more exciting? Is a Pegasus 38 a better choice? It could be, but if you think the Boston 8 is a little bit boring, first shoe I would suggest would be the Hyperion Tempo. That I think is a lot of fun and has a lot of similar use cases. But that DNA Flash midsole material, I think it's really exciting once you start running fast. So that's a fun one. Other one I would look at would be the Endorphin Speed. I think that's another shoe that can be used very similarly, kind of a trainer racer, and that I think is a lot of fun. So those would be the first two that I would look at for you. And Thomas Villa says, when sighting, never trust another swimmer. That's funny. Can you imagine if I ended up following someone that was like just blindly just slapping away at the water and like didn't know where they were going? That's oh man, that's funny. I hadn't thought of that. That's a good tip. All right, Garrett Meek says, does the audio keep dropping sync and then eventually catching up for others? I think that that's the camera. that's doing what, the camera though isn't in charge of the audio, but I think there's some sort of lag that's getting introduced with this camera. So for the rest of today, let's switch back to the other camera. And here we go. Let's do that. And now we're dark because I changed up the lighting in here. So that would be a little bit darker, but all right, let's see. Hopefully that will fix things. Hold on, give me 1 second, guys. And all right. There. Hopefully that resolves some more issues. And see, now I don't look like I got a weird gray beard or gray hair. See how weird that is? All right. All right. Adam says, in his first triathlon back in 1983, I started hyperventilating and at the start of the swim, nerves and cold. Oh, I could see that happening to me. I could definitely see that happening. And Steve says, my Achilles that's been hurting wasn't that bad today. Awesome, Steve. Do you think the carbon plate takes pressure off the Achilles? It could, because it's adding some sprigginess in there. But is the drop on that shoe different than what but is that the Metaspeed Sky, is that a 4mm drop shoe? So that really, maybe that makes a difference. Maybe if the drop is different from your other shoes, that could be it too. Or maybe it's just the bounciness of the foam that is like impacting your joints and tendons in a different way. So that could be it. And he said, Adam says, continuing in his first triathlon, only breaststroke for the first half. Couldn't put my head in the water. Came out 395 out of 420, but passed a lot of people the rest of the way. Yeah, but you came out of the water. That's the important thing. And that's the thing that I'm going to be trying to focus on. And I am thinking right now, tentatively, that breaststroke is probably going to be the way that I rest if I feel like I need to take a break. So I see a lot of breaststroke in my future. Hopefully not too much, but we'll see. And New Betron wants to know if I'm going to be wearing a wetsuit for the try. I still have to procure one, but that's the plan. Mainly because I'm very used to swimming with a pull buoy, and I really like the pull buoy. People call it pull buoy, like it's a pool buoy. That's how everyone says it, but it's pull buoy. That's how I would want to say it, by the way that the words are spelled. But I'm so used to swimming with that I really wish I could race with that thing in. And I'm really wanting the buoyancy of the wetsuit. Anything that's going to make it feel more like that, I think will be very helpful to me. So that's why I'm thinking about going with the wetsuit. And Jeff Alley says, I wonder if backstroke might be a good way to rest while still making progress. What's funny is there's a couple that's been going to the Dyersville pool in the morning. And I think the gossip that I picked up from some of the other ladies at the pool in the morning, I haven't talked to them, but the gossip I picked up from the other ladies is that they're training for a triathlon in Monticello. I don't know when it is, but they only come every once in a while. And they do a lot of backstroking while they're at the pool because their strategy is that they're not going to be able to swim the whole way, so they're going to do a lot of backstroke. So they practice a lot of backstroking. But yeah, so we'll see. And yeah, Stevie 76 says gossip alert. Yeah, it's pretty funny. I feel like the ladies there are like starting to take me in. Like every day there's like one or two other additional questions that they're asking because I think they're just curious about the weird dude that suddenly showed up one day and now he's here every day. So yeah. Oh, in his number says Runner Dre is a lady. Just saying. Oh, my apologies. Oh, I didn't know that. My apologies. Yeah, and Matt says I'd also suggest you practice everything wetsuit, putting it on, taking it off, and not panicking. You have something tight around you when you're out in the water. Okay, I will. I'm going to walk around the house in it. My wife is so used to seeing me like walking around the house in all sorts of weird outfits, sometimes in costumes and stuff too, like because I do love running in costumes. The wetsuit, I think, isn't even going to phase her. And Phil says, I'm planning to dress as Gaston at the Disney World Half Marathon this November. No one sprints like Gaston. Negative splits like Gaston. That's awesome. That's very cool. And although my wives are coming in, CV76 with my wife and his number, my wife. You guys are so funny. Yeah, Thomas says bring the ladies at the pool to a live stream. That'd be fun. Yeah, I don't know. That'd be interesting. They're very nice. They're very nice. Michael Mahoney says, is your try a chipped event? If yes, then you're really only racing the clock / yourself. So you can space your swim out before playing catch up the rest of the way. That's an interesting point. And I actually don't know the answer to that. I assume that I assumed it's going to be like a marathon where there's gun time and then there's chip time. I got to figure that. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And Sorrel says, once you get into triathlon, everything you thought was weird is not normal. Oh, it's funny. Yeah, there's been a lot. It's like, it's made me really surprised that like there aren't, I know that there are a lot of triathlon YouTube channels, but I'm surprised there aren't more, just because there's so much more stuff to potentially review. And not that like the stuff makes the sport or the stuff makes the YouTube channel, but I just feel like there's a lot of fodder, like things to talk about in terms of the triathlon. And so like there's just like a lot of content ideas that are coming to me. I'm like, if I wanted to be in that space, I feel like, oh, there's lots of easy ways to kind of like go out and like test this, test that, compare things. Triathlon Terran does a really good job of that kind of content too. Like, are the aero helmets worth it? That kind of stuff. So it's really interesting. I think the cycling world is similar, just because there's so many different things. Like if you ever, like when I do a review of a running shoe, it's like, here's the foam, it's foam, and here's how much of it there is, and it feels springy to run in it, and it's responsive or it's not responsive, all that kind of stuff. But like I was watching a bike review today, and they were like, here is this aluminum frame of the E5 series with carbon forks and a something stem and bottle mounts and a Shimano something and cassettes. And I was like, that was like 14 different brands and like 18 different products. I just feel like there's a lot to talk about. And I feel like that cycling is like, I guess maybe I've only hit the tip of the iceberg, but there should be more out there to kind of explain some of this stuff. And Marit Legrand says, yes, join the triathlon YouTube gang. We're nice, I promise. I like a lot of YouTube triathlon YouTube channels. They're fun. Because I just like there's a lot of just opportunities for B-roll, which I'm a big fan of. So I just like watching B-roll. So I do like watching a lot of the triathlon channels. And Vin Mella Running Club says, start doing vlogs, and I'm working on getting into shoe review. Do you have any suggestions from when you got started? Love your videos. Yeah, I would say in the beginning, don't worry about like trying to get stuff from brands or anything like that. Review the stuff that you have, because the stuff that you have is the stuff that you have the most expertise in. And so just talk about it and figure out what your point of view is. Like, how are you going to explain this to people? Are you going to explain it to people from like a shoe nerd perspective? Are you explaining this to like absolute beginners, people who are not even really sure what makes a good running shoe, that kind of thing, or like anything in between? So figure out think about it. You don't have to decide it now, but always think about what your point of view is for the video and go from there. So that's what I would recommend. And like talk about what you know about. And sometimes I talk about stuff that I don't know about, but the point of view is that I don't know about it and I'm figuring it out. That's also, I think, just fine. All right. Oh, here's a question that I saw it earlier and I missed it. Ray Solar's a happy jogger wants to know, can I run roads and aggressive trails with my Hoka Torrent 1s? I would say roads, yes. Aggressive trails, I would say maybe. I think it really depends on like how fast you're going to go through there. The Torrent, I feel like, is a much more relaxed shoe than say like the Zinal. And so I think that there's a lot of room that makes it comfy, but that might not make it ideal for something that's very demanding. So I think aggressive trails, I don't know exactly what you mean by that, but when I think of aggressive trail, I would think, you know, if I was going out there for an easy day, probably fine. But if I wanted to really be able to race through something that's an aggressive trail, I'm not sure that's what I would probably I would rather have the Zenol for an aggressive trail than I would want to have the Torrent. Like the way I think of it, going from like dialed in and performance oriented to like super comfy and cushioned, like the three shoes that I have kind of like experience with, I'd be like the Zenol would be the most like aggressive. The Torrent 2 would be like in the middle in terms of like kind of like a cushioned daily trainer almost. That's how I feel about it. And then like the Lone Peak 5 is much more cushioned, much more comfortable, much more roomy. And so like that's kind of like the spectrum that I have been perceiving lately. And Yana says, where'd it go? You should explore the Shimano sets for road bikes. I believe there is a Shimano Claris, Tourney, Sora, Tiagra, 105 Ultegra, and Dura Ace. Yeah, see, like I actually have been watching some bike reviews, so I'm familiar with Claris. None of the other ones not that I'm familiar with. I've heard of the name Claris. I don't know any of those other ones. But there's just so much that's out there. And I feel like a lot of these parts aren't cheap. And so I feel like there's probably a lot of YouTube watching that's happening as people are researching this stuff. So that's why I'm like, man, whoever's into the bikes, get on the channels, make it, and make some content. Because I got some questions. I'm looking around. I'm curious about some of this stuff. Yeah, everyone's asking where Martha is. I haven't seen her yet. I don't think. Raynor says it's weird to join the live stream for the first time in a while and not see Martha. Yeah. And John Eater says, is the Torrent or Zenol more similar to the Mach 4? A lot of people have been saying that the Zenol is more like the Mach 4 and the Torrent is more, I forget what they were saying. They were trying to do some comparisons. But I feel like the Torrent, either way, I feel like the Torrent is more similar to the Mach 4 because for me, the Mach 4 feels like a very cushioned shoe. It's a quick shoe as well, which was what's like miraculous about it and amazing about it. But it feels very cushioned, and the Torrent feels that way to me. When it comes to the speed aspect, though, that's where some similarities I could see with the Zenol. But the Zenol doesn't feel like a cushioned shoe to me. So that's kind of like where I see like both of them have aspects of it that are similar. In terms of cushioning, the Mach 4 just seems so very cushioned compared, but it's hard to compare like the lugs on a trail shoe to a shoe that has no outsole. So that's where it's a little bit difficult to really compare them. They all do have ProFly, and I don't remember which. I think the Torrent has a stack height that's more similar to the Mach 4's stack height, but the ride dynamics are a bit different. Ed Chan says, what up, CoFam? Just got here. I'm better late than never. Well, good to see you again, Ed. Awesome. And Martha said, no, Yana said, I recommend the GCN channel. I've been watching a lot of the GTN. Are they related, or is it just a coincidence with the names? I've been watching a lot of the Triathlon channel, which I have been really enjoying a lot of that, especially I've been only watching their swim content, but I've been enjoying that. And I haven't really gotten into the cycling network, the GCN. That's what the N stands for, right? Yeah. The GCN, I haven't gotten too much into that yet, but I think that, I've started looking up some cycling content on YouTube. So I think it's only a matter of time before it started getting fed to me via the algorithm. So we'll see. But yeah, my YouTube suggestions are very different these days than what they've been in the past. But it's all fun. It's all fun. And PJR confirms that GTN came from GCN, and they're both great channels. Cool. Very cool. Awesome. Oh, Andrew Bostic is here. Andrew, I did follow you on Strava, by the way. You were asking about that the other day. Oh, he says, thanks. Sorry I'm late. Thanks so much for following me on Strava. Yeah, I found, you know what? I've been meaning to do it earlier, and then I was like, oh, what was I supposed to do today? I would like get on Strava. I was like, what was I going to do? And then yesterday I finally remembered. Sorry about that. It took me a little while. Oh, and then it's giving the additional fact, GTN, GCN, and GMBN. Oh, I didn't even know MBN existed. They're all the same company. Interesting. I spent a lot of time this morning specifically looking at not bikes necessarily, but trailer ways of carrying the bikes for the family. So I was like, how do I carry 4 bikes on a car? So I spent a lot of time looking at that. So I was looking at a lot of like Yakima racks and also like trailer hitch bike carriers and stuff. So that was this morning. So I kind of went down a rabbit hole there. All right. Jasper Mosley wants to know, are there any new all-purpose shoes for 5K high school cross country, an alternative to the pegs? I really like the SL20, depending on the terrain that you're doing for your 5Ks and you're racing in. I mean, I think that they just updated the Zoom Streak LT. There's a Zoom Streak and there's like a Zoom Streak LT that is, one of them is more off-road oriented, not like trail, but like cross-country course oriented. So I would look at some of those from Nike. There are race flats for 5Ks. But yeah, if you don't want the peg, I mean, I feel like for training purposes, the SL20 could be a good one. I would also probably like the Beacon for training for cross-country in high school. For racing, I think that I always raced in either a spike with the plugs put in, if it was a very hard surfaced course, but if it was a grassy course, I had, the long spikes in. But for training, what I would like are a lot of the lower to the ground daily trainers, I think would work. Something new in that category, I think, could be the Under Armour Flow Velocity Wind. It's a little bit expensive. Hopefully it'll be on sale soon. But that one, I think, is a pretty fun one. That could be a really good all-purpose trainer for high school cross-country training. All right. And let's see. And it says, I like how do you say that? Thule toe ball bike rack. Very easy to use. Okay. Good tip. And New Bedford said, I'd 1,000% go hitch rack for 4 bikes. That's what I kind of came to. I'm like, we got all different sizes of bikes too, and I don't think I'll be able to fit them all on a roof. So I think I'm going to have to do that. So I'm going to talk to my uncle today, or my wife's uncle today in Guttenberg. That's where I actually got to go pretty soon, take the kids over there, drop the car off with him. And well, I need to get some new windshield wipers, not drop the car off. I'm going to go to the shop and talk to him about, see if he could put on a hitch for me, because the car doesn't have one right now. So talk to him about that, and then we're probably going to get the hitch bike carrier. But Adam warns, don't leave them on your car and out of sight. Tons of stores have been getting stolen, even if they're locked. Oh, that's scary. I have seen like there's a lot of locks that are discussed in these videos, and I'm like, really? How are people going to steal like a bike off a hitch? I mean, I guess you would ride off with it, but like, I mean, you would also have to have a bike carrier on your vehicle to steal someone else's bikes, right? Seems like a tough thing to steal, but I guess I could see it happening. Bike theft is pretty common, I suppose. And Ted Ruth says, Hambini is the go-to cycling YouTuber. Hambini? All right. I don't think I've come across Hambini. I will go take a look. And Johan Salzer says, what is a race you wish to take part in outside of the US, Canada? I think running comrades would be amazing. I don't know that I'm capable of running comrades, but that's one that like always piques my interest every time I hear about it. I would want to do a downhill year because I like running downhill. Running the marathon on the Great Wall of China, I think would also be pretty epic. So that's another one that has my attention, as well as the kind of like the usual kind of runner answers: London, Berlin, Tokyo. Those are all races that I'd want to do as well. So, but trying to give some of like the more non common answers. Those are two that jump out at me. right, let's do a couple more, and then I got to get going for today. All right. Adam says, there are two types of people who have roof racks. Those who have driven into their garage with the bike still on, and those who will. What's funny is one of my buddies, when we I went to Milwaukee with my buddies for like a guys weekend one time, and we brought bikes so that we could ride our bikes. Well, not my bikes. I could ride their bikes while we were up there. And my buddy dropped me off at my building, and the building has like an overhang where you can kind of like pull in. And he definitely, there's a lower bar to let you know that your clearances aren't right. And he was pulled in and totally forgot that he had the bike on the roof rack and just ding, drove right into it. Fortunately, everything was okay. It hit right into the saddle, and the saddle was still fine. We weren't going fast, but yeah, I could totally see that. All right, a new betcher helping me out. That word is pronounced Thule. There you go. Nice. Now I know. All right. And all right. Let's see. Remy's here. Says hi, everyone else. What's going on? Good to see you, Remy. All right. And Remy says, oh, there was bike talk? Yeah, I mean, I guess there was kind of a lot of bike talk today. More try talk. So you missed some. You will have to rewind. All right. Vin Mela, I think this will have to be the last one for today. Says Vin Melia Running Club says, what do you think of the Bondi X? Wild shoe that my friends and I were surprised to see released. I'm super excited for it. I think that there's kind of like an interesting narrative for it as being like the carbon plated shoe for the rest of us kind of approach. I'm not sure that that's what it's going to be. I haven't run in it yet. I still haven't received, they said they were going to send me a pair. I still haven't gotten mine yet. I'm very eagerly anticipating. I'm supposed to get a pair of Bondi X and Rincon 3s at the same time. So hopefully I'll get them soon so I can test them out. But I'm really looking forward to using that as kind of like just a next step in max cushion. So like we've seen like the old max cushion, just a bunch of squishy foam. Not that fast, but comfortable. Then we saw kind of like the springier max cushion shoes, like the 1080, the Triumph 19, and now the Fresh Foam More version 3. Those are also interesting. Now to see like a carbon plated max cushion shoe, you can combine like super squishy with carbon. So that's like a nice formula because then you get squish and spring, right? So I think it's an interesting concept. They've said that they didn't change the formula for the foam in the Bondi when they made the Bondi X. They kind of just like cut out a portion and inserted a plate into it, I think is kind of what it was. They said there was a lot of testing and iteration and prototypes, but I don't think that they made the foam any different. I would have been really excited if they said they made the foam squishier to have the carbon plate to kind of compensate for it. So it'll be interesting to see what it is. I'm very excited. I'm hoping that it's kind of like the Puma Deviate Nitro, which I've been enjoying, which is a heavier shoe, but really great on long runs, especially a long run that you might have a couple of stretches of marathon effort miles in there. Let's say you've got like a 15 or 20 mile run and you've got like, maybe 1 by 4 miles inside of that at marathon effort, or 2 by 3 miles, something like that. That's where I feel like those kind of shoes are gonna be super fun. So like we're starting to get really finely graded in terms of like carbon plated shoes. You got the racers, then you got like the training companions, and then like the trainer racers. And then if you got like kind of like max cushion carbon plated shoes or long distance carbon plated shoes, there's a lot of options that are out there. But I think it's exciting. I always like experimentation because even if it's a flop, hopefully it's at least interesting and may lead to something else better. So that's where I feel about the Bondi X. I can't wait to try it. Hopefully I'll get mine soon. All right, guys, I think I'm gonna have to leave it there for today. Tomorrow's video will hopefully be I'll hopefully be able to get this done and get the Wahoo Element Rival review posted tomorrow. And then what's tomorrow? Thursday, we'll do another live stream. Same time as today, 1 p.m. Central Time. Bring your recovery beverage of choice, and I will see you then. In the meantime, be safe out there, everybody. Thanks.